Okay, and then once again, there's a button that says start broadcast. Yeah, this is going to be. Thanks for showing up, buddy. Bye. Okay. Yeah. Now you said the beard was religious. Is there like passages in the Quran that require beards?
The beard is actually in the Sunnah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
That's from the Hadith.
Basically, one of the more better narrated, and what it does. But the disagreement is mainly on the length. But it is a requirement for men. We call it wajib. Mm-hmm. Wajib means sort of a requirement, and it's on the length. Now, I take the opinion of Imam Malik, basically that states that the beard has to be at least a fist length, and that's sort of it's sort of a distinguishing mark of a Muslim man, just like the hijab. The headscarf is a distinguishing mark of a Muslim woman.
Yeah, I need to use TV. There we go. So sorry about the echo, guys. Okay, so Teha Bor something like that asked a question: is the beard a requirement? In other words, are you not right with if you do not have a beard?
Some schools of thought look at it as a sin. For instance, if you intentionally shave the beard down completely, the Hanafi, the Hanbali, and the Maliki schools, and we're going to get into this later too. These are specific schools of thought, interpretations of Sharia. Mm-hmm. They consider it to be sort of a minor sin.
Okay.
And if you're a Shafi, they don't consider it to be a sin, but they think it's not really good to do. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, for example, in the Bible, in Leviticus chapter 18 or chapter 19, the Jews were not required to like trim the edges of the beard, but that's in the Christian thought, that's Old Testament law, which of course was fulfilled by Christ. But anyway, let me go ahead and start off with I've got 4 batches of questions. And the first batch deals with the Quran. And I've got 5 questions dealing with the Quran. Now, the first question is, the Quran was given to Muhammad by Gabriel. Were there any witnesses to testify that he truly got this message from above? And what is to stop me from claiming that Gabriel gave me a message and I go out and start preaching?
Well, there were not any witnesses whenever Prophet Muhammad received his message. However, what made people believe that his message was true were its practical effect on the society around him, as well as the fact that he was always considered a very honest man. It was mainly revolved around his character and his honesty throughout his entire life. People didn't think he had any reason to lie. Basically, also the fact that he was willing to go through so much persecution and even death to spread this message. It was mainly centered around his character that made people believe him to be a prophet. And there's some other evidences you could find in the Quran later on we can discuss possibly that might verify this further. As for you saying right now, hey, if God spoke to me, well, that's problematic in the fact that if Prophet Muhammad was in fact the last prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then, as he said himself, he is the seal of the prophets. Nobody else can say that God has been speaking to them, which is actually very beneficial in our religion because that helps, from distinguishing ourselves from, some crazy guy out there who wants to be the next prophet and decides, hey, God told me to go slaughter a bunch of people or go create some cult or whatever, So, you hear that a lot, especially from some, what are they called? Some extremist Christian sects, they'll say, well, God spoke to me, so I decided to kill my children. In Islam, that's you can't do that. I mean, nobody can claim that with you and be like, you're crazy. So.
Okay, I want to get in there and pounce on some stuff. Now, just to clarify, number one, you cited evidence of the beneficial result that his message had on society. Did I interpret that correctly?
Mm-hmm.
And also his good moral character. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, there are many people who consider me to have a good moral character, and certainly any message that I would preach. I mean, I certainly wouldn't, preach a message saying, go out and rob cars. I would preach a message like, hey, it's like, don't kill people, don't steal, treat your neighbors well. My message that I would bring would be beneficial to society. So what is the difference between me doing that and Muhammad doing that?
Muhammad was making not just moral claims, he was making specific metaphysical claims about reality and also the social structure of society, which transformed the Arab world in about 20 years from this tribalism, these warring factions, into a unified whole that eventually would become one of the strongest empires in the world. So, I mean, yes, your message is very, very beneficial. I'm not disagreeing with you on that. But when we're speaking about a prophet, we're not necessarily talking about somebody who's just preaching, do this, do good unto others, but somebody who can change the world around them in such a manner that it's not just spreading a message; it's into transforming everything. And very few people in the world have been able to do this, and even when they have, without sort of, and this is sort of another evidence in my personal view in regards to prophets. Even when people have been able to transform the world, they have eventually lost that success. And but when we look at the Abrahamic religions, we still see continuously that sort of success played out, and of course the abuse of it, but we still see them here.
Okay, so basically, evidence of Muhammad's message being from God is that it changed the world, made it a better place, correct?
I would say that's one of them, yeah.
Okay. What if I brought a message that truly, changed all our lives? Like here in Phoenix, we have a lot of gang wars. I mean, so it's not quite the same thing as, what was going on in Mecca with all the different clashes, but we got gangs, shooting at people. What if I were to bring a message that would end the violence in my area, because these gangs are connected to different cities? My message were to reach to the gangs, get them to stop, and the world would be a better place. Would that be evidence that my message came from God?
Not necessarily. As I say, this is just one of the evidences of his prophethood, and in fact, he also made metaphysical claims.
What define metaphysical claims?
The nature of reality, basically, and also how the specific miracle that he brought, the Quran, which is another thing that I would mention as part of evidence, would play as going towards that claim. So. Okay.
That's actually going to be dealt with in another question that I have. Wolf85 made a comment. Does metaphysical claim equal unverifiable stuff?
Does metaphysical claims equate to unverifiable things? If we want to talk about philosophy, this is going to be, if you don't mind, this might be a little bit more, I'm going to have to get a little bit in depth here.
Okay.
Metaphysical claims are those that talk about the entire nature of reality.
The entire nature of what?
If you want to talk about reality.
Reality.
What is real?
Okay.
If you want to talk about verifiability, for instance, if you're talking about empirical evidence, for instance, well, we understand what's real based on empirical evidence.
Okay.
That in and of itself is a metaphysical claim. Or actually, it's also an epistemological one.
You're about to actually